Run, river, run, run through the hills. Run, river, run to the sea. Run, river, run to your place beneath the sun. Run, river, run.
Hi, this is Jan Lewis. Welcome to be my guest today. We have from Worcester, District Attorney Joseph D. Early, Jr. Welcome.
Jan, thank you. Good to be here.
Was your father, or the original District Attorney, wasn't there a Joe Early?
Yes, he was the congressman. He was Upton's congressman for a while. He was in office. We started in the State House, where legend has it he won his first election by one vote.
Yeah.
In 1972, 73, he elected to Congress. And he served in Congress till 1992.
So you grew up seeing your dad in politics.
Well, actually, he's the reason I ran, because he enjoyed helping people. Constituent service was his forte, and I had a pretty good law practice, very successful law practice. Wife, 5 kids. Life had been real good.
5 kids. What are the ages? Go ahead. You can tell me that.
Well, it's kind of funny. 22.
You got a millennial. I have one too.
Yeah.
Okay.
20, 19, 17, and 6.
Oh, look at 17 and 6.
Yeah. So we had 4 at the time I ran. Yeah. But it ended up, I wanted to get into it because I saw him help people.
Yeah.
It wasn't a week, a day, didn't go by, someone didn't say, Joe, did I ever tell you what your father did for me, did for our family, helped us get some housing, get us some benefits, get a hospital care.
Sure.
And I thought, noble professions are wonderful. I think politics can be a very noble profession, and I thought I'd get into this because I saw when I was a defense attorney for 17 years, a lot of good people came through my doors who made mistakes, and they needed help. And I figured the way I could give back would be to help to prevent crime. And we had a long discussion. My father thought I was crazy for doing it. And I said, Dad, look, I don't want to be in my 70s and say, why didn't I do this? Help make Worcester County a little bit better.
Sure.
As hokey as it might sound, I think we're down here to give back. And put a big focus on our juvenile crime and juvenile delinquency, and we put our best and brightest attorneys when I get elected in the juvenile unit, and working with our community partners, our police, our fire, spiritual groups, faith-based groups, private, public. We've reduced juvenile delinquency complaints by 58%. And I'm really proud about that, because if you want to see the numbers go down in the jail, you have to attack crime where you can change your modified behavior. And that's best done working with kids.
Now, I know that when I read the article, and I'm not sure if it was in the Telegram or what, cyberbullying, opioid task force, and distracted driving. Go for it. How do you feel?
I feel very strongly about those things. The hardest part of our job is talking to people in pain, whether it be the police, the DAs. It's the hardest part of our job, and you never get used to it. The best part of our job is preventing crime. And we have a community outreach program that's, I think, made about 16,000 presentations. We've reached over 500,000 people, especially focusing on the youth and bullying, cyberbullying, sexting, texting and driving, things of that nature, and the elderly, who the greatest generation. Oftentimes people are trying to separate them from their money, and we have a duty to protect them. Our bullying program is our #1 most requested program. We know that girls are the worst. They spend more time on their phones, and we've kind of lost some of the give and take that comes with having a discussion. And we had an expert in yesterday. We partnered with the Worcester Public Schools to talk about that, why girls are worse on social media. And, and it's kind of a complex issue. But we make these presentations. All of our community outreach team was there to listen to the expert, Rachel Simmons from the western part of the state. And we go in and preach the golden rule. Treat people the way you want to be treated. If you wouldn't want it said about your brother or sister, don't say it about someone else's. Sexting, we're not trying to put the fear of God into them. We're just trying to get them to think that your lives are going to be valued and measured by what happens on your phone.
And that doesn't go away, what gets on the internet, right? That's it.
There's no such thing as delete. There's no such thing as delete. Delete means temporarily taken off the screen or whatever. On our homicides, our State Police Detective Unit, the Worcester Police, the first thing they'll do is try and grab the defendant's phone. Even stuff that they deleted a long time ago, we can get back out if we have
get it back that way. That's cyberbullying. I'd seen it with adults online.
Yep.
How do you track someone down? Is it if you have to report somebody? How do you get them?
Well, I'm a dinosaur when it comes to that technology, but
Yeah.
state police detectives and the police know how to do it.
They do.
You know, whether it be an IP address or whatever, they know how to find out where it comes from. And we also do a big one on texting and driving. And we had a heartbreaking case yesterday. We're waiting to hear back. A grandmother and a 3-year-old standing at,
Chandler Street?
yeah,
I saw that on the news. The guy came and was he texting?
we're waiting. We're in the phone now. Like we
Yeah.
have the phone now. We're waiting to see.
Right.
But there had to be some type of distraction because there were cars stopped in front of them, and there were cars stopped on the other side of the road. It was a flashing light. Baby's in surgery now, and the grandmother has a severely broken leg, and she's got a long road of recovery ahead of her. We also pled out a case yesterday where a gentleman got 4 years of probation, was speeding, eating, and texting when he hit a girl in a crosswalk and killed her.
Eating, texting, and speeding.
Yes.
Was he on anything other than?
No. But see, there are three types of distraction, Jen. You've got cognitive, affects the brain. Manual affects the hands. Or visual affects the eyes. Texting and driving affects all three. So, I mean, if you're eating on top of it, it's a recipe for disaster. And he had a big open plate of food next to him. When you drive, it's up, down, side to side. It's just unconscious things that you do. When you're texting and driving, it's up, down, up, down.
Yeah.
And these young kids, and even adults, it's something they do hundreds of times a day.
Yeah.
They think they can do it and drive. But we bring the message to the kids that most of your accidents are going to happen on these side windy roads, whether it be in Upton, Grafton, Uxbridge, Northbridge. They're not on the highway. So if you're traveling 20 miles an hour, 25 miles an hour, 30 miles an hour, those speeds are designed to have your full attention. When you take your eyes off the road to tap out LOL or where are you, that 2, 3, 4 seconds is enough to end up hitting a tree, hitting a stroller on the side of the road, hitting a bicyclist, someone out for a walk. And if you're on the highway, it's 60 miles an hour. When you tap it out at 3 seconds, you travel the length of a football field. And we try and get them to understand, when would you ever close your eyes and drive the length of a football field blindfolded? You wouldn't.
No.
But because of
No.
that phone, they think they can do anything. We also tell them how 60 Minutes put on a great presentation about how algorithms are being developed to keep you looking at your phone. There's a release of dopamine.
Oh, I didn't know about that. I missed that.
Slot machine
Really?
technology, yeah. In the slot machine technology, you don't get a release of dopamine when you get a pop.
Yeah.
It's when you push the button to pull the handle to play again. And that's
It's
how
like a
that,
drug.
It's like a drug. And dopamine is a drug, naturally releasing in the brain.
So they're driving and they're drugged from the.
Yeah. You're on Snapchat, you get a series of 30 likes, you get a good feeling, and it keeps you on there. So we try and tell them they don't necessarily want to get you in an accident, but they do have control of your brains.
Is there some way you can get rid of this?
No, but there are apps out there, the AT&T Safe Driving app or other apps where you can put it in driving mode, and you'll get a message saying, I'm driving. I have that on my phone, I'm driving.
We're talking with Joseph D. Early, Jr., and he is the district attorney from Worcester. And we're talking about cyberbullying, distracted driving, and that opioid crisis. I was sharing with your assistant, my son.
Yes.
He's a millennial, and he lives in Worcester, and he lives, the rents are so high, he and his room, he can only afford, not the greatest neighborhood. And, you got to look out for needles, you got to look out for all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
And you wonder, I guess a lot of them, or all of them, the ambulances are equipped now, right? And the first responders with Narcan.
Yes.
How does that wake the person up? What is it in a Narcan?
Narcan's an agonist, and for example, say this is the opioid receptor in the brain.
Yeah.
What it will do is it'll seal the receptor so that the opioids bounce off. What opioids do is slow down the central nervous system. They slow down the breathing. They slow down the pulse. I've seen it work firsthand down in Crompton Park in Worcester.
Oh.
I saw 2 ambulances. My son had a basketball game playing one of the town's teams, and there were 2 ambulances, 2 fire, 2 police. And I went over and I was an officer, and I said, Pete, what do you got? He said, we got an overdose. I said, have you tried Narcan? He goes, watch this. And I saw a resurrection. The guy just sat up, said, where am I? And they said, we overdosed. Will you go to the hospital with us? And at the time, the police were powerless to force them to go to the hospital, but he agreed to go. Now they can put you into protective custody. So it blocks the receptor, and it gives you 20 to 40 minutes to get someone to a hospital, get them more Narcan, and help them.
What do you think saving people's lives, is it 80%, 90%? What do you think?
I'm not sure because there's been an increase of the drug fentanyl, and fentanyl's 50 to 80 times stronger than heroin.
Yeah.
And a lot of heroin now is being laced with fentanyl. Because what happens is someone uses heroin for the first time, and they have a euphoria and experience that release of dopamine that I was talking about earlier. They felt like, for example, during the course of a day, the best you might feel is a 5, 6, or a 7 on a scale of 1 to 10. All of a sudden, they feel like a 25, 26, or 27.
Sure.
Excuse me. Allergy season.
That's oh yeah, me too.
So, for the person with the addictive personality, and that's about 50% of our population, when someone gets an opioid in a hospital setting, a Percocet, a Vicodin, something like that, afterwards, they won't be craving the drug, but the person with the addictive personality will be craving the drug.
I hate narcotics. They make me feel ugh.
Me too. Like I'm crawling out of my skin.
Just too out of it.
But the person who's got the addictive gene, their brain is wired differently. They'll demand and crave more. One pill can be a game changer.
I noticed, getting into security too, that interests me. Over at UMass, remember was at Harrington Hospital, the nurse was attacked in the emergency room.
Yes.
And UMass got on that. You go in the emergency room now, and it's almost like going to the courthouse in Worcester.
Yes.
It's fantastic. It may look a little scary, but it's...
Yeah.
Why don't they have in the hospitals, I don't get it, one of those things at every entrance? I wish
Metal
they would.
detector. I think we're probably heading in that direction.
Oh.
There's just levels of violence that creep up, and whether it be a mass shooting or school shooting or stuff like this, and we know that the person who did that had a mental health history.
Joseph, how can people reach you?
WorcesterDA.com, or call our office at 508-755-8601, and that's the main number of the district attorney's office. We have a juvenile unit with 4 juvenile courts, a district court unit with 11 district courts, superior court unit for all our major felonies. We have the first, and I'm so proud of this, Jan, the first nationally accredited child advocacy center in Worcester County to help the victims of sexual abuse and trauma.
Yeah.
So they don't get re-victimized. They get interviewed only once. And we've got a great unit there. We've got an appeals unit. We have a drug forfeiture unit. Also, if you want to call our office, the schools. Our number one crime prevention program is keeping kids busy after school hours, after an education, keeping kids busy after school between the hours of 3 to 6. We take the money that we get from the drug deals and put it back into the community. So whether it be the arts, the sciences, sports teams, whatever, we give money when people request it back to the community. We have a committee that okays it or denies it, and we'll put money back into the community. So if you have a team, a nonprofit or something like that, let us know.
When there's the gun buyback program, what do the officers do with the money? Oh, no, wait a minute. No, they'll go with the guns, I should say. Yeah, the guns.
Well, the guns we just dismantle or they tear apart. We have been trying for a couple of years to get like a monolith, which they have down in Rhode Island. You take pieces of the guns and you put it into a big display. It's breathtaking. It's down in Rhode Island across from the Attorney General's office. And we might do something like that. Right now we're just dismantling them, breaking them down.
Joseph, you are also an attorney. Are you a defense attorney?
I used to be.
Now you're
a prosecutor.
You're the prosecutor.
Yes.
Well, DA, of course, district attorney. What made you want to change?
My dad. I saw the goodwill, the good work that he was doing, and I thought I could make a difference in society by helping to prevent crime. Yeah. We know that the human brain's developing till about the age of 25.
Yeah, I watched that my own son. Oh, yeah.
For sure. And if you get to the kids especially between the ages like 7 to 11, 8 to 12, that's when you can really make an impact and influence on them. And if they headed down that road, I think those are the years you can really catch them and flip them back over to where they need to be.
But when you have a classroom and the teachers, God bless them, they aren't really taught how to deal with a kid who learns differently. Maybe they have ADHD or mild autism, so the teacher gets frustrated. Now the parent has to go after an IEP just to get the kid a special... I had to go through this, and I got a Federation from Children, a free agent, a mediator, come down and sit with me, with the staff, and we got him his IEP.
Good for you. There's a lot of hurdles and hoops you have to do.
Yeah.
A lot of it comes down to money.
And I think a lot of parents are intimidated. They walk into a room, they see a room full of staff. I'm like, that's not the way it's going to be. This is my child.
Yes.
Now, what's your favorite, of all the things that you are the most passionate about What do you think really catches your attention the most?
Juvenile crime and the opioid crisis, child victims, they all have an effect on you, and they especially have an effect on me. The opioid crisis, Purdue Pharmaceutical got us into this mess by telling us OxyContin was non-addictive. And if you want to read a good book, the book Dreamland by Sam Quinones.
What's it called? Dreamland?
Dreamland by Sam Quinones.
Okay.
Can really tell you how we got here. Back in the 60s, there was a thalidomide scandal. And pregnant mothers were being given the drug thalidomide.
I know when my mother's pregnant with me, she learned about that. The thalidomide, no, that was a big no-no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And babies were being born with severe birth defects.
Yeah.
What came out of that was a database in Boston hospitals of about 300,000. And the doctors could crunch the numbers to come up with different things. And there was a doctor, Herschel Schick, with a Dr. Jane Porter, wrote a letter to the New England Journal of Medicine, which included a throwaway line after Dr. Schick had found out that 12,000 people had been given opioids in controlled hospital settings around nurses and doctors.
Yeah.
They couldn't tell you how many opioids they'd been given, what the opioid was, but they told you that only 4 people out of the 12,000 became addicted. And what Purdue Pharmaceutical did with that was to tell the doctors, look, the answer's here. It's been here for 2,000 years. It's opioids.
Yeah, definitely.
Yet they had done their own tests and studies to know that this was just not true. They hired sales reps by the thousands, started, whining and dining the doctors, the doctors who, by the way, never got involved in this stuff in medical school.
Yeah.
UMass is going to be the first medical school now talking about, the dangers of opioids and safe prescribing practices and all of that. So I've got a passion for the opioids because people say, well, they presume it's a moral failing, and it's not. It's save, not shame. Our interns came up with that.
Yeah.
What you got to understand, it's a very complex disease. And the experts, for example, Dr. Collins from the National Institutes of Health, Dr. Volchek from the National Institutes of Health tell us that this is a complex disease that requires a very complex solution. And that includes coming up with medicine that is non-addictive, breaking down silos, all working on this together because it's a community problem that requires a community solution. Having the person, when they go to the hospital for an overdose, Dr. Volkov said, if they leave without a treatment plan in place, it should be medical malpractice.
Oh, yeah.
Because people, we've got to treat it the same way people come with diabetes or cancer, we treat.
Too many people go under the rug.
Right, and then when they leave the hospital, we tell them, don't come back.
What's with that Leahy? You know the Leahy thing over near UMass? The juvenile lockup.
Oh, yeah.
It seems out of place. Is there another place? I mean, that's okay. I mean, my son had friends in there, but unfortunately.
No, it used to be called the Reform School in days of old. Right, it's, DCF, that's...
it just doesn't look right.
Yeah, no.
With the wire thing. And then you've got the wonderful UMass there. I'm like, what's the connection? But, when UMass was built in the 70s, right? Yeah. This was right there. In fact, there was a person, much older, but he escaped. He was a kid then, and he escaped from Leahy.
Yeah.
Escaped. UMass was being built and went through the tunnels under UMass. Yeah. I'm like, how the heck did he figure that out?
Yeah.
Nowadays, I don't think they could do that.
No, went under the fence, and I remember that. Yeah.
Whatever.
So, and my father had a lot to do with UMass being built. He was the vice chairman of the Appropriation House Ways and Means Committee in Boston.
Yeah.
And he helped. I think we got it to Worcester by 1 vote, and it's been such a big employer, been such a big part of the community.
Yeah. Now, again, how can they get a hold of you, Joe?
WorcesterDA.com, or you call the office at 508-755-8601. If you've gotten a call on a scam, if you need help, if you've been a victim of a crime, we have a victim witness unit Margaret Wumber runs, 23 people strong. We can help you with just about anything, and if not, we can steer you in the right direction.
You can. What about, here's a big one, people who are I'm talking about the people who obviously need disability. Oh, yeah, and you know the drill. They apply, they ignore them. I always tell people, don't go necessarily, you don't have to pay a lawyer. Go to your state reps. Go to someone like District Attorney Early. Go to their offices, and that's what we're here to serve. They can help you get... I know I helped a person years ago. I think they turned him down. The third time, I just was mad. So I called one of the local state reps, and he had a guru for SSI, SSDI. He walked it across the
Yeah.
street. He got the guy on it, and thank God he did. They've got this thing about turning it, it's just like, you don't matter, you
Well,
don't matter.
Again, it comes down to money. And,
Yeah.
the state reps, that's what they're there for. The state senators, that's what they're there for. We handle most of the criminal aspects of it, insurance fraud, victimization, bullying.
You met the elderly. Now, I saw this happen very close to my own life, where the parents are scammed by one of the kids, and their estate begins to be embezzled.
Right. We have a white collar crime unit. If you think that's happened,
Whoa.
especially when you turn control of the checkbook over to a child or a relative.
Someone grabs guardianship.
Right.
Well,
We always say to have two people, not one.
Uh-huh.
So you've got two people checking on each other.
Oh, well, this one didn't want any checking, believe me.
Yeah.
No. I saw it. I did it in my own family. I was in court for 4 years, like Aaron Brockovich, on this thing. I went
Yeah.
through 3 lawyers. The third one was really devoted, and we took care of this. Not much money involved. By the time we got through, a lot of it had been embezzled, given somewhere. Once somebody grabs the guardianship, it's tough to get find a judge who's with it enough to say, enough. You will sit down.
Yeah.
And it's tough. It's really tough.
It is. I did some guardianships, and you see that there are good people out there, there's bad people out there.
You don't see it coming. If it's in your
No.
family, the monster behind the curtain, you may not even have a clue that person has an agenda.
Right, and the agenda may be an alcohol addiction, a drug addiction, or a gambling problem. And that money can go very fast.
It's scary, Joe.
It really is. And again, we have a white-collar crime unit. They can call the DA's office at 508-755-8601. Ask for Greer Spatz. She runs our white-collar crime unit.
Why is it that when somebody takes their elders' Social Security, has the money reverted up to where they're living and lying, say that the elderly person, what happens? Why, when you report it, doesn't that person get cuffed?
Yeah, I don't know how that works. That's more on the federal side because it is federal money,
Yeah.
and it brings federal authorities into play.
That's a tricky business. What would you suggest to people who are running into this?
Well, if you're running into that, you can call your congressional office.
Okay.
You can start there. You can call Social Security. Start there. You can call the U.S. Attorney's office.
You can go that far. How many people really do that? They're afraid
Yeah.
to rock the boat. Joe, are you going to be appearing anywhere coming up, making some presentations?
Yes, I don't have the schedule with me, but we're in different schools all over the county every day.
Do you come out here, Upton and Grafton? And
All the time.
You do?
We do a lot of business out here. I come out for National Night Out at the Grafton Police Department. We give grant money to the Grafton High School all the time.
Yeah.
We've got some great stuff. We've been down the road at Blackstone Valley Tech and Nipmuc. We were there just the other day giving post-prom money to have events after the prom where everyone gets locked into a room,
Yeah.
locked into an area, either after a prom or after graduation.
Operation Graduation.
So it takes the alcohol out of it. It takes the
Yeah.
the youthful energy out of it at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning. Everyone's in a safe place. There's no alcohol involved.
Yeah.
Again, around responsible adults to avoid those types of accident
The drunk
injuries.
driver.
We're in Grafton today. When are you
going to be there?
We were there earlier today.
Okay.
Yeah.
You were there. I remember the proms when I was growing up. I guess, I don't know, I was to be home at a certain time. I went to 3. The boy's father was at the school, brought us home by, let's say, midnight. That's it. The next prom, my father drove, I'm not sure, and they got us home. There was no problem. The third one, the boy did, but there was a curfew, and it was respected. I mean, I didn't drink, so I had no desire to stay out any longer, really. So, but it's a whole different thing now. Yeah.
It is different.
I didn't, oh, gosh.
No, and when I was in high school, it goes back a ways, but the drinking age was 18, so you literally could buy alcohol legally. About half the senior class could,
Yeah.
around prom time.
Well, I don't know what the other kids were doing, but it was fun just to be at the prom. But you're tired. You want to go home if
Yeah.
you're halfway normal,
Yeah.
I think.
Well, yeah, they've got all that energy now, and it's a group thing, and
Yeah.
some kids can just sit and chill and have a cup of coffee,
Dance around and have fun, yeah.
Dance in another room, sports activities in another room. Yeah,
Joel, this has been great. We're going to have to make it short now. You're going to keep going on that task force, right?
Yes.
Opioids.
Oh,
and
yeah.
That's going to keep going.
We have so much more to do. When we just got back, Dr. Collins told us that so many different things are happening nationally. One of the national movements is towards medically assisted treatment. The big fight between the recovery community and, for example, AA. Some people in AA believe if you're getting any type of medication, you're not in recovery, you're in treatment.
No,
and
yeah.
it gets complex. There's 3 drugs out there. Methadone, which has been around forever, Suboxone, and Vivitrol. Vivitrol is like a 30-day Narcan. Suboxone helps get you off of the drug, but if it can be abused, and methadone is something that can help you get off as well.
Yeah.
But the public sometimes has misconceptions about what works, what doesn't. You know, they say, well, they lie, they cheat, they steal. Don't tell me it's not a moral feeling. What the experts tell us is that, sure, they lie, they cheat, and steal, but those are symptoms of the disease, where the brain has been rewired and they'll do anything to get the drug.
He brought his wonderful assistant with him. What is his name again?
Mohammed Emiola.
Aha! He went to St. Peter Marian School.
Yes, he
told
did.
me he was in the. He's been. What is the branch of the service now?
He's in the Army. He's in the ROTC at Clark University. He's a grad student.
Clark. So my grandfather graduated in 1908, and he is. I thought he was. My son's 27 now, just turned. He's younger than my son, but he looks so grown up. I mean,
He's in good shape.
Oh,
I wish I wish I was in that shape.
He is on top of it.
Yes.
I mean, this guy, nothing gets past him.
Service to our country. He works in the DA's office. He helps in our communications. He's very embarrassed right now, but he does a great job. He does a great job helping bring this message to the community. 60 cities and towns, 800,000 people. We have a big area to cover, and it's nice that you get to know your DA, whether it be television or in person.
Well, when he walked in, I said, "My God, it's like the FBI." He was all business. He knew exactly what was going on.
I'm coming from several meetings today. No, we're not all business. We're about helping.
Thank you, Joe, for being with us so
Sure.
much. Again, one last time, how can they reach you?
You can reach us at the Worcester County DA's office by calling 508-755-8601 or on the internet at worcesterda.com. And if you go through the website there, you'll see all the different things that we are involved with, some of the things we're involved with in the community. And if you have questions, we have some question and answer stuff there that'll help you.
Fantastic. We got to have you on again.
Love to.
There's a lot of stuff that I wasn't even aware of. When you get a millennial kid, you hear a lot, but you don't always hear the solutions that if they don't know them yet.
We try and provide the solutions, and if we don't, we work until we find them. We'll get you someone that will.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, Jen.
See you next time and be my guest.
Riding on a shooting star, heading out toward a dream.